Welcome to my individual quest on the topic of play and creativity for young English language learners. I will not be reading everything on this presentation, so if you are specifically interested in the details that I provide, then just take time to pause the video and look more carefully. I have included a lot of quotes from academic journals because I feel like if I'm going to challenge people to consider or change their classroom practices, then I really want to show them that my suggestions come from um, the academic world. They're supported by the academic world. Okay, first we need to establish that play is an important aspect of oral language development, and that oral language development is very important. So, as you can see here, when we see a scene like this of children playing, it's not a quiet one. And play is an important place where oral language is developed for all children. So if that is true, what about young English language learners who are coming from a different home language and are still developing their English language skills at the same time that they're developing in their home language? So we're going to look at the teacher's role in assisting these young English language learners in their development, the teacher's role in play. So one key importance is the involvement and the interaction of teachers in children's play. When teachers are more involved in interacting with the children in their play, this is good for their language development. Teachers have the power to contribute to the development of children's language. And one study found that when teachers were not involved and engaged in the play with the children, that ELLs were very limited in their attempts and ability to engage with their peers in play. So we see the critical role of a teacher engaging in play for oral language development and especially for the English development of our ELLs. Here are some suggestions from the articles that I researched on how a teacher can be involved in play. And especially I want to focus in here on this one, helping ELLs to make social connections to their peers. And that is one of the key roles, among other roles that regardless of whether you have ELLs in your classroom or not, will be beneficial to children and their oral language development. Another aspect is time. Once again, this is common for both monolingual children, but especially for English language learners. They need enough time engaged in especially socio-dramatic play and free play for them to gain the confidence and the depth of engagement in the play. Also, we need to remember the child's home culture. Home culture counts. So with their home language, we want to maybe learn some words in their home language. We want to label props in both English and their home languages. And we want to provide situations and items in their play that are going to be familiar to them and not totally foreign. We want to give them a balance of their home culture and the culture that they are now facing outside their home. In addition to the environment is the mood that we set in the classroom. We want a classroom where talking is encouraged, where there's lots of talking. We don't want a quiet classroom. So hands-on materials and activities are going to be a great way to elicit classroom talk. Also, we want to look at our mentality towards our English language learners and not have a deficit view of them, but see their home language and their learning of English as an asset. We want to celebrate the unique versions of English that they produce, and we want to respect their need to use their home language. And we can see here that language is often playful, and we want to encourage that enjoyment in our classroom, the enjoyment of learning language, as well as the imaginative play. So let's begin looking at some practices. Like I just mentioned, we want to encourage their language learning, and language learning should be fun. And children will often play with words, and we want to join them in that play. And we also want to show them how we can also do wordplay and play with a language. I've provided here an anecdote from my own life where my nephew called me when my nephew said that he was my aunt's son. He didn't know the word nephew, but he invented the word aunt's son. And we now joyfully use that word in our home. Also, there are examples from a study where children, English language learners, were playing with words and they developed words that involved some influence from their home language, as well as their own ideas of concepts and English language. So rainbowly, a rainbow plus ly means colorful. And here, with much delineation, they discovered that Gantolina is a fancy pink dress. And it just became a sort of emphasis in the classroom to enjoy the words that the children had created. Next, we have the importance of drama. Implementing more than just a dramatic play center, we want to actually encourage children in acting out stories, songs, or poems. And so I've provided some ways here that we can develop dramatic play beyond simply just a center as something we do as part of circle time and other aspects of the day. And you can see here, you can pause if you want to look closely to what the benefits are when we engage and help the children develop in their dramatic play and acting out of stories, etc. Here we have the importance of gesturing, playing with gestures. Actions speak louder than words. So we want to create an environment and do activities where our whole body is involved in our communication. And when children are encouraged to use their whole body to be involved in communication. And so I have listed some examples here of games and activities that might help English language learners and also be fun for your monolingual children. And I have provided the findings of one interesting study in this area of the beneficial effects of using gestures and using our full body to express ourselves in language. And finally, we all know you can get a song stuck in your head. So a great way to support and promote English language learning for our young learners is to use songs. It will build their confidence and assist them in that process. So once again, I have provided some suggestions as well as the benefits that come with using songs to help English language learners. A point of warning, Although teachers may have very positive perceptions of the importance of play and oral language development, that does not necessarily mean that they are implementing these important practices into their classroom. So we need to look at what barriers are existing to implementing this type of play that will help our English language learners. These specific quotes come from research of oral language development in general. So how much more? This is true of play and language development in general. Where does that leave our ELLs? How much more do they need us to find out what the barriers are and pursue implementing practices, playful practices that will help them to develop? And these are my closing thoughts. If young child second language acquisition is work, okay, some people have this perception that children just naturally and easily are learning languages, but it's actually work. Their little brains are working really hard. It's a tiring experience for them, although we may not see it in the same way, or we may not identify it as work. They are working hard. And if, as Piaget has told us, play is the work of childhood, then informed play-based activities and environments are crucial in supporting ELLs. Thank you.